little by little we get twisted with these things. So we have to somehow have a little bit of a wall to say no. We're not part of the secular world. We're part of the world, but we're not part of the secular world, and our faith is separate. It's something else. It's something higher. And using the old calendar helps us keep that perspective. That's part of it. And that's why in Russia and Serbia and Ukraine and Jerusalem and Mount Athos, they didn't change. Because they realized that it was secularism. It would secularize the church. And that's exactly what has happened in a lot of degrees. So that's part of the issue.
I'm surprised.
But anyway, it's not a dogma.
I'm surprised the amount of excuses they use to keep those holidays. Like I have relatives that celebrate the 25th, Christmas.
Yeah.
And the excuses they use to keep that, even though they're Orthodox.
Yeah. Well, you know, it helps a lot on the balance sheet at the end of the year, though, for businesses, though. It really does. It's important. But it's also, I mean, it's a nice season because people do feel better. They feel more joyous. They feel more giving and more, you know. But they did that in pagan times as well. But we should maintain that part, certainly, especially the generosity that people feel this time of year, and the way to give and to help other people. Because in the middle of winter, that's when the poor people need us the worst. You know, they need us the most when it's really cold and they don't have heat, or when they're on the street and it's really cold. They need us far worse than they do in the summer. So it's marvelous that we have this time of year that we can feel more generous and more giving to people. And, you know, that's something we should really maintain. Christmas is okay, but Christmas is a sad season for the poor.
Yeah.
And it's a very sad season for the poor. Poor children have to go back to school and hear what everybody else got for Christmas while they didn't get anything. And, you know, you can hear about what other people are having for a big dinner on Christmas while you're lucky to have a sandwich of some kind. So it really is a very sad season for the poor. And we perhaps need to remember that as well. So, anyway, I think, Ludika, you're going to have a Malevin or something?
No, we're just going to have some singing rehearsal.
Oh, okay, practice. Okay, one more question if there is one, and then we'll say a dismissal.
In Deuteronomy, all the laws that are written, I can understand a lot of them, like washing, you know, the cleanliness, or if a woman's having menstruations. But the other laws were to stone them for this or for that. I mean,
Yeah, actually, those are old Semitic laws that existed before the time of Moses. Moses didn't give those laws; they were always there. That was part of the Semitic culture in that, and those laws were there from time immemorial. They didn't originate with Moses at all, so they weren't given by God because they were always there.
A lot of people think that God gave those laws.
No, they were traditional Semitic laws, and they existed everywhere in the whole Semitic world. That was part of it, and that's the laws about cleanliness and things like that were intelligent, because you know if you don't wash your hands before you eat, you get very sick. If you eat shellfish, of course, people couldn't tell about red tide. So shellfish were banned because a lot of people died when they ate shellfish. You could see it. And they couldn't tell the difference between when shellfish was and wasn't deadly. But sometimes it was very deadly, as it is on our coast. Yeah. So that's a part of it, not to ascribe. Okay, Moses left traditional Semitic laws as well as the laws he received from God. But we shouldn't confuse the two. That's the part of it. So that part. Our propensity to make everything absolute when actually there are no absolutes. In the human condition, there are no absolutes. God is absolute. But in the human condition, there are no absolutes. It is truly meet to call you as